Hi guys, it's Lucinda here, and today I want to talk about the history of online trolls and bullies, the dark side of the internet. The internet has been a wonderful resource for us for years, but also it can be used for harm, and we definitely want to tap into that and talk about it today. So in 1990, we saw an influx of message boards. And so different people started to share their opinion and started to find people who were in the same community who liked the same things or had disagreements on message boards. So that was our first experience with trolls, of people having, difference of opinions. Now, since then, and I said that to say this: all different opinions are not a bad thing. You gain perspective. The only thing with that is that we have to, as adults, agree to disagree in a respectful manner and really give careful consideration to others' opinions. That shows maturity, and it also shows growth as well. Who are these keyboard wizards, right? Behind these keyboards doing all of this, right? So let's jump into it. In 2004, the loosening of social inhibitions because of the anonymity of the internet, we saw online disinhibition, which affects people's willingness to behave differently online than in real life. Signs of a troll and an internet bully. So, one, disassociative anonymity. I'm sorry. So, that simply means the mask, the ability to hide their true identity online. They have a mindset that online actions can't be linked to them in real life, which removes their sense of responsibility. Number two, invisibility. Without eye contact and body language, they become disinhibited. So they can just hide, right? We can't see them, can't see their faces. And that's, as I researched this, I wanted to make sure that, I was being as genuine as possible. And that's why a lot of times I just simply turn my camera on. You see me messy room sometimes makeup, sometimes without. But I also want to let you also see inside me. A lot of times I use my avatar because I love my avatar, and you love it too. All right. Number three, time gives you time to disconnect asynchronously, asynchronicity. Kind of hard to pronounce. The ability to disengage and to re-engage. So when someone has trolled you, or you are a troll, and someone claps back, you take time sometimes to disengage. A lot of times, people who really clap back at you and really give you a run for your money, sometimes you won't even show up, or you won't attack them. You'll attack someone associated to them who you think that you can actually get one over on. But we actually know exactly what you're doing. You craft your responses carefully. You get into your little message groups, and they kind of pump you up. They get you all stirred up. So yeah, you do that, and you get on camera, and come on, I'm here, I'm there, I'm here, I'm there. Because on camera, it's very easy to engage, to be aggressive on camera, okay? Because you don't have a fear of losing your job, no fear of consequences. But in real life, having contact with that person and actually doing that, these people would never do it. They would never do it. So that's the time to disconnect asynchronously. Because, with online learning, you've heard of asynchronous, right? They're not online, right? So they get a chance to turn off the camera, disengage, and then pump themselves up to come back again. So now we're going to go to number four, five, and six. Four is solipsistic introjection. These people are going to create a character in their mind. This dehumanizes you. All right, so this makes it easy for them to just keep throwing out insults. For example, one troll tries to put me in a masculine image. Okay, so they take a spin off of my name. Instead of calling me Lucinda, they'll call me Lou Rawls, right? But of course, we all know I'm very feminine and very pleasant. Not that masculine is not being pleasant, but of course I am definitely a female. You can look down my community wall, my live videos, my pictures, all those things line up. All right. Number 5, the dissociative imagination. So basically, these online interactions become a game rather than being involved in their real life. These people can cut on and off like a blink of a light switch. And you find this especially in people who are grieving. This gives them a sense of escape because their real life they have to get to. It's not something that is a pleasure for them, and so having this as an escape is their way of coping. And number 6, the minimalization of authority. The lack of clear authority figures online. Viewing others as peers makes it easier for whatever you want to do whatever you want without fear of punishment, leading to more aggressive commentary. All right, and certainly we have seen that on these YouTube streets, right? All right, so now this gets really deep. Now, as this person starts to have all of these traits, this leads us into the dark triad or the dark tetrad of these people's personality. So these are some dark types of people, and so you get into more psychopathy. All right. So part of this triad is known as the Machiavellian. And the Machiavellian is a predisposed to being cold and detached in order to manipulate others. All right, and this comes from Niccolo Machiavelli, who was an Italian politician, and he is famous for really being cold and unempathetic. Okay, do your research. And he is quoted as saying, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." So he chooses fear over love. Okay, and the next part is something that you have heard people say lots of times. And this is part of the narcissism, okay, or narcissism. And this indicates an inflated sense of self, lack of empathy towards other people. The lack of empathy in both of these segments of psychology is very, very sympathy. I mean, it's very, very not very sympathy. It's a person who cannot have sympathy, who does not have empathy, and so they must have that fear factor. That's why you see them in a lot of groups, and they must be the leader. True leaders allow others to lead, and these people will not do so. Okay, and which leads us to the whole era of the psychopathy. All right, so now this gets really deep. Now, as this person starts to have all of these traits, this leads us into the dark triad or the dark tetrad of these people's personality. So these are some dark types of people, and so you get into more psychopathy. All right. So part of this triad is known as the Machiavellian. And the Machiavellian is a predisposed to being cold and detached in order to manipulate others. All right, and this comes from Niccolo Machiavelli, who was an Italian politician, and he is famous for really being cold and unempathetic. Okay, do your research. And he is quoted as saying, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." So he chooses fear over love. Okay, and the next part is something that you have heard people say lots of times. And this is part of the narcissism, okay, or narcissism. And this indicates an inflated sense of self, lack of empathy towards other people. The lack of empathy in both of these segments of psychology is very, very sympathy. I mean, it's very, very not very sympathy. It's a person who cannot have sympathy, who does not have empathy, and so they must have that fear factor. That's why you see them in a lot of groups, and they must be the leader. True leaders allow others to lead, and these people will not do so. Okay, and which leads us to the whole era of the psychopathy. All right, friends. Now, a lot of these people, Machiavellian, narcissism, all of this links to my next point, which is psychopathy. And that is basically a person with an antisocial personality disorder. Now, in the beginning, remember, I linked directly that these people would never, ever, ever. These people are very antisocial. They don't socialize a lot. If you look at a lot of these bullies, especially in this particular sector, and most of you know me, you've been following me for a long time, you will notice that most of their time is online. Most of their time is online. A lot of times, you don't really see them interact with other people. Okay, they're on here a long time. You got 24 hours in a day, right? You are typically going to work for 7 to 8 hours, and you're going to sleep for about 6 to 7 hours. So that's a span of, say, 14 to 16 hours per day. All right. So that person, you should see them probably online maybe an hour, 2 hours at the max. Now, because of people working from home, and if you're not busy, and I do the same thing, of course, you can still be working, and maybe sometimes I'll have a chat open, or you could be cooking dinner, okay, and still be, doing your chat. I do it all the time. You could be even cleaning your room, washing dishes, and sometimes people do it live, right? Cook dinner live, all these things. And so, yeah, but I've seen people online. Now, I'm talking about on StreamYard, 7 and 8, 10 hours per day. Daily. That's ridiculous, guys. There's no way you could be interacting socially with your family, friends, church members, neighbors, co-workers, and have a healthy balance and listen and pay attention to your children, your parents. There's no way. And so that leads me into the next part, which is linked directly to the Machiavellianism and I'm sorry, I don't know why I want to say that. Machiavellian and narcissism, which is psychopathy, antisocial behavior, and sadism. And sadism is a tendency to get pleasure from others' pain. I've seen this firsthand. I had a situation where a friend of mine, car was stolen.